because we were like, if we miss it, something happens, then we won't make it to Germany in time for tomorrow. And so we had to take the 3 o'clock train. And so we went to the Van Gogh Museum that day, actually. And then we get our luggage, we lug it up, and we're like, this is a high-speed train. This is bound to be one that like stays at the station for 15, 20 minutes. You board your bags, blah, blah, blah. And so we get 3 tickets, one way, me, Jen, and Richard, and Amsterdam to Frankfurt. So we get there, and the train is going to leave at 3 o'clock. It doesn't pull until 2:55, which I guess is how it goes. They figure, you know, get your bags on and you got to get going. Schedule to make. And so I'm like, baby, Jen. I call Richard Sweetie. So I'm like, baby, go first onto the train and save us 3 seats together. Like it's a 4-hour train. We'll probably want to get some sleep. So just go. You take care of those seats. Richard and I got the bags. She's like, okay, sure. And so she hops on to get seats, and Richard and I start the process of like I'm standing on the platform. And the train is this number, and so Richard goes right there in the train, 2 steps up, and I'm grabbing the bags and putting them up, and he's just getting them inside. We figure once they're all inside, we'll set them up. And so I load them all on the train, give it a look, say, Richard, we're fine, let's put the bags up in the little compartments. And so we sit down, I'm sweating, because that's what I do. It's May, and it's hot, and I'm loading 50-pound bags and guitars, and yada, yada. And so I sit down, I'm like, all right, and Jen has great seats for us. She's like, thanks, baby. Sure, baby. Once again, still Jen. And then she goes, by the way, where's the gray bag? And I go, the gray bag, oh shit. Run to the door, literally as, now this is the door. Like, I run to the door as the door is shutting. And I'm like, oh, I made it. So the door shut, so I push the open button. And I push the open button. And I push the open button, and the door's not opening. Literally, if this is the door, this is the bag. I literally could have just gone, yoink, thank you, and taken the bag, but the train has shut the doors. So I'm like, so I push the close button. I don't know. Maybe the open button's not functioning, and nothing happens. And then there's this like lever underneath it. I'm like, yeah, okay. And it's okay. By the way, the worst thing is it's Jen's bag. So it's not even like it's my bag with smelly t-shirts, and it's Jen's, and she bought like some nice dresses for dinner and stuff like that. Whatever women do, shoes, and I still haven't figured it out. And so it's all her nice stuff in the bag. And so I'm like, I guess I gotta pull the lever. And I pull the lever, nothing happens. At this point you hear, because the air brakes are, yeah, not that kind of That was much earlier when I realized the bag was gone. And that was more like, so a lady walks up to the bag. Another important part I forgot is that Bin Laden's just been killed. And so terror alert is like Skyrim. Yeah. Like if you drink a Coca-Cola and you put it on the ground and someone tackles you, it's like super high, people with guns, because they're talking about it's going to be a lone wolf type that's going to exact vengeance, and the Amsterdam hub's a huge hub. And so I'm like, there's a bag on the platform, it's unmarked, it's locked, and yeah, and a lady walks up to it, yeah, oh God, you're on track. A lady walks up to it, and Richard and I are like banging on the door, and the lady kind of hears us and looks, and we're like, my bag, that's mine, me, bag, me, us. It's just 2 silly Canadians. So she looks at me and literally goes and sees me and goes like this. And I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, does that mean like you're an SOL, or does that mean like I can't do it? Does that mean like you're stupid? But I don't think it's good. And so then the train takes off, high speed. Yeah. And so Richard and I kind of like, I got and the train's running this way. That Frankfurt's that way. Bag is here, going that way, essentially, because we're going this way. And so I run, I'm like, you know what, we're like 2 cars from the edge. I'm gonna run to the conductor and just tell him I'm a Canadian, and because I'm not. I'll just tell him the bag, I don't know who to call. It's not like, hey Johnny, I left my, yeah, don't know who to call. Like, hi, train station, my bad. I'm in Amsterdam. I don't have my phone. You have to dial 35 numbers and a plus sign. So I'm like, I'll just tell the conductor. He'll know what to do. So I run to the end of the train where the conductor sits. I push the button and the door opens. But there's no conductor on that side. Because the conductor, pitter-patter, walked to the other side of the train because we're going that way now. So, by the way, now we're high speed, we're a minute or two out of Amsterdam, and my heart's beating right now. I guess that's good, but I mean, it's beating fast. And I walk, and I go back, and Jen's kind of like, so? Not good. And so I walk back through the thing, and Richard's kind of like, I don't know what to do, man. He's like, I ran 3 carts that way, I couldn't find anybody that works. Like, what do we do? I was like, I don't know, and I just can't get my nerves down, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't just, her bag's gonna be exploded. That robot, wheels. And I go back to the door, and I notice something that I didn't notice before about the buttons. There's a little plate of glass with an emergency do not push. And one of those like movie-style red buttons behind the plate of glass. And so... So, I punched through the glass, and I pushed the do not push the button. And I'm kind of standing like this, but when I push the do not push this button, like Star Trek, like people crying, babies crying, like there's we're gonna go off a cliff, like the train stops. It's not like, oh, casually slow down on the next station. The train, like super high pitched noise, like that thing earlier with the shoulder girl. And so everybody is looking at the giant, scary, sweaty man. Me, who just stopped the train. And Richard goes, he says something roughly to the effect of, I think this isn't good, man. I say, I think so too, sweetie. And he goes, I got your back, but I'm gonna have a seat. I was like, all right. So I'm kind of like, everybody's looking, the noise is loud, I punch through the glass and the doors flung open, but now we're in the middle of nowhere because the trains are going. It's not like we're in a station, we're on train tracks, like in Europe, in the middle of Amsterdam or wherever we go. Because the train station is a couple miles out. 4 kilometers, I guess, in Europe. So this lady comes running in, and she's like, who pushed the button? Who pushed the button? And I kind of, I did. And she runs up and very sincerely goes, what's wrong? What's going on? Like, I think she thinks like, someone's got a gun. I am having a heart attack. My wife is giving birth. I'm giving birth. So she's not thinking some D-bag just stopped the plane. And I say, my wife's bag is back on the platform. And she goes like, and she's like, I'm pretty certain English wasn't her first language, though she spoke great English, but I can see her kind of go like, I mistranslated that. And she kind of rewinds it in her head and says it again, and it still translates into my wife's bag is on the platform. And she goes, you pushed the emergency button because your wife's bag is on the platform? That's how I screamed. And I say, yes. She goes, you can't push the button, the do not push button, because your wife left her bag on the platform. And I go, ma'am, look, I'm very sorry. I didn't realize it would stop the train. And she goes, you didn't stop the train. You stopped all of the trains. I'm glad y'all are having a good time. Because when one train stops, the rest have to stop so they don't smush into each other. And I was like, I didn't know that either. So and she kind of like, she goes, you didn't stop the train, you stopped all the trains. And kind of like walks away because now some other guy is there, and he looks at me and goes, this is gonna be very expensive. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, we'll figure that out. But in the meantime, in all honesty, like I don't want my wife's most prized possessions to be destroyed. And I don't want someone to look at her underwear. Just kidding. No, I'm not. But so, was it?
You're a good husband.
Thank you. And I was like, okay, in the meantime, my wife's bag honestly is on the platform. What can we do about it? So luckily she was a trained person. Part trained, part person. She was able to call and say, hi, if there's a gray bag, then don't destroy it. We have somebody here who owns it. It hasn't been destroyed yet. It wasn't. Someone found it, and we got it. But the guy goes, this is going to be very expensive. And I was like, okay. I was like, how much does it cost to stop the entire European train system? And the guy walks up to me and goes, it's going to be about 150. He didn't say any unit. He didn't say like 150 drachmas or he just said 150,000 billion, I don't know. And I kind of go, whoa. I was like, all right. And I go and I sit down next to Jen and I go, baby, if this is 150,000 euros, I'm just going to run. I love you. I have my phone. I'll be in Europe. But I was like, it's not a plane where you give me your passport. It's a train. I bought a ticket. They don't know who I am. Even if they do, I can say I'm the guy from Seventh Heaven or something. And I kept on trying to say A lot so that I seemed Canadian. I love Canadians, obviously. And so I was like, if it's 150,000 euros, I'm just going to run. The door's open, I'm just going to hook it. She was like, yeah, you are. And so I get back up, and the guy brings out his little thing, and he's like, all right, 150 euros. He's like, that's it? I mean, like it's nothing, but I was like, okay, here you go. Can I wash that? And so that cost 150 euros, but we got the bag back, and that's two great additions to the story. One was Jensen said that after going to see the conductor and there's no one there and going back and smushing the button and the lady saying, what's wrong? He's like, your response should have been, there's no one driving the train! Second place addition to the story is Mark Shepard, who I told him the story, and he basically, I'm not going to say the word, but he said, F you. And I was thinking he was probably on a train somewhere, he missed a flight or connection because some jerk off, like something. And I was like, did you miss something? He goes, no, but I've lived in London my whole life, and I've always wanted to stop a train. He goes, you're there for a week, and you do it? And it costs 150 euros? Yeah, anyway, that is...